Water, one of the world's main elements. Like going back from low tide to high tides, it's time for the long-awaited and much necessary remake. Chaos, the guardian of the Master Emerald, and Lapis Lazuli, the traumatized crystal gem. I'm Mick Diaz, and it's my job to go over their origin and skills to see who would win in this episode of The Debate Club. Long ago, the legendary Echidna tribe discovered one of the greatest sources of power in the universe, the Master Emerald. They wanted to use this power for world domination. However, what they got instead was a creature beyond their own comprehension. The guardian of the Master Emerald emerged, a being named after the effect it leaves on the world: Chaos. But what is Chaos? A corrupted child who got too close to the Master Emerald? A descendant of an ancient alien race? Who knows? But what we do know is that Chaos is a force to be reckoned with. Wait, this watery thing is called Chaos? I guess some water fights can get a bit chaotic. Well, actually, although it does appear to be made of something liquidy, it's more alien goop than water. Gross. Well, composed of whatever it's supposed to be, Chaos was known as the guardian of the Master Emerald, and one day a young girl from the tribe named Takal discovered it, and was the only one who didn't see Chaos as a monster to be harnessed. Unfortunately, others didn't see him that way, and so the Echidna tried to take the Master Emerald alongside with the 7 Chaos Emeralds, and they were ultimately slaughtered by the creature's fury. With no other choice, Takal was forced to seal Chaos away for 3,000 years. Chaos then would become legend, a cautionary tale for those who choose to harness powers beyond their comprehension. This would get the attention of the notorious and somewhat egg enthusiast Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik, who wanted to use Chaos because time is a flat circle and history always seems to repeat itself. And to the surprise of absolutely no one, he would soon lose control of said creature, and it would begin to rampage across the world, with many powers at its disposal. With its watery-like body, Chaos is able to morph himself, giving it the ability to stretch and shift as it seems fit. It can glide through the air, travel as a puddle, is resistant to extreme temperatures, and is mostly unaffected by physical attacks, with the exception of his brain. But even if you do manage to damage it, as long as his weak point stays intact, he can regenerate good as new. He also has the power to match Sonic and friends in battle. In Sonic's earlier adventures, he was able to shatter the chains holding down Little Planet, a feat worth over 90 rototons of TNT, enough to wipe out an entire planet several times over, and that's just in its zero form. Chaos can sense the emeralds, and upon collecting them, he can gain even more powerful and crazier forms, like a buff metal arm or this weird fish with legs. He not only grows more powerful, but gains new abilities as well. He can generate shockwaves, force fields, resist cosmic radiation, and can draw from the Chaos energy in order to perform attacks such as Chaos Strike, Chaos Impact, and can even halt time. Wait, I thought that was a shadow thing. You're not technically wrong, but there are multiple people in the world of Sonic who can use Chaos Control. And Chaos, being born from the Emerald energy, it wouldn't be a stretch to say he could also stop time, especially since he has a similar ability called Chaos Bind, an ability that stops time for 20 seconds. With these powers, Chaos rampaged through the world, growing stronger and stronger over time. The very power the Echidna sought to control, now becoming an unstoppable monster, with each form slowly bringing the world to a watery apocalypse. And with its final, most powerful form, a creature was born. A creature of true power, true perfection, perfect chaos. Upon reaching this form, the world itself flooded. Literally, the negative energy of all 7 emeralds flowing through its watery veins. A rampaging monster with no hesitation of stopping. Building-sized tendrils, water tornadoes, a giant laser, and kick-ass boss theme. What more can you ask for in a kaiju final boss fight that can only be described as peak fiction? For this fight, Sonic had to use the positive energy of the Chaos Emeralds to transform into Super Sonic, and Perfect Chaos was able to hold its own against it in terms of speed. This is impressive since in other games, Super Sonic was able to fly to the exception, which is located in another universe. Given the time frame, this would require speeds of over 3 quadrillion times faster than light. In the end, Sonic was able to take down the monster once and for all. But was it really a monster? All Chaos ever wanted was to protect the things it cared about, as a guardian. However, all it got was people trying to use it for its power. All the constant hardships it had gone through had made Chaos snap, finally being let loose and becoming the very monster they had feared, the opposite of what it wanted to be. This is why Sonic, instead of defeating it with brute force, decided to open its heart and finally quell its wrath once and for all. Perhaps it saw something in Sonic, something it always wanted to be, a protector. And with its rage gone, Chaos, alongside with Tikal and the Chows it protected, departed to realms unknown. Chaos can finally rest easy, knowing the world it once thought was cruel is now a safer place. A fitting wish for a guardian. Across the star systems, no army is quite as conquering as the Diamond Authority. An army made of rocks with the ability to form hard-like constructs around themselves. They went from planet to planet, colonizing and conquering. The army was vast. There are the leading diamonds, rubies as foot soldiers, and pearls as personalized secretaries. And the topic for today, Lapis Lazuli. No, we're not playing the whole clip again. Lapis was yet another soldier in the Diamond Authority, one of many Lapis that existed. However, when the rebellious crystal gems led by Rose Quartz threatened the Diamond Authority, Lapis was caught in the mayhem, and her physical light form was dissipated, or poofed, leaving her gemstone to be trampled and cracked. Now listen, I know that it's war and unwanted casualties are bound to happen, but I'm pretty sure that the color-coded gems would be able to figure out who's on whose side. Once the war concluded, Lapis was mistaken for a rebel and sealed within a mirror, where she would be left there for hundreds of years. And once she was freed, her only goal was to return to Homeworld, and she certainly had the powers to accomplish such a task. As a Lapis Lazuli, she has a natural ability to manipulate bodies of water, such as forming wings, giant hands, chains, giant water avatars that would make Poseidon blush, or even make water clones capable of fighting on par with the original. In this instance, they were capable of fighting on par with the crystal gem Garnet, who can crack apart a mountain worth over 170 tons of TNT. Whatever, I can manipulate water just as much. What makes her so special? Since when can you do that? Take this! Really? A water and that's just the warm-up. Anyways, Garnet is extra important to mention, cause she's actually a fusion of two different gems, and one of the fused gems, Sapphire, could create hailstorms worth just under a megaton of TNT. Being able to match this power is certainly impressive, but Lapis is even more so. In order to reach Homeworld, Lapis, with her broken mind, came to the solution that she needed to lift the entire Earth's ocean to create a stairway directly to Homeworld. Ignoring the fact that this would likely kill all of sea life, that would require an energy worth over 35 petatons of TNT, which is a lot higher than a megaton, I'll say that much. With this much power, you wouldn't expect this little twerp named Steven Universe to pose much of a threat. And you'd be right. But it was through Steven, in her life full of misery and cracks, she found an open hand willing to repair her. Literally, Steven's saliva literally fixed her cracked gemstone. Coming to her senses, she thanked Steven and flew to Homeworld. In the original episode, we estimated that this trip took over 160 days in order to travel from another galaxy. In that time frame, it would require speeds of over 5 million times the speed of light. Are you sure this isn't an outlier? Yeah, if anything, it was a low ball. Really? Yeah, even I'm able to admit when I'm wrong. How we've grown. While there are much more impressive feats out there, such as Garnet being able to react during warp travel, and in the comics, wait, there's comics? There's always comics. This robot here went from Homeworld to Earth in such a short amount of time. Once the gems on Homeworld noticed it was gone, it was already on Earth, requiring speeds of nearly 15 billion times the speed of light. After she returned to Homeworld, she was less than satisfied. While she managed to make friends with the goat Peridot, she was forced to partner up with the not-so-goated Jasper, under Blue Diamond. While physically she was fine, mentally she was still sealed away. And when she returned to Earth, Jasper forced her into a fusion. Fusions are a sentimental and passionate act, but this time it was for selfishness and abuse, forcing Lapis into a fusion, trapping her even more than she has been before. That's some dark stuff. Lapis and Jasper fused into the monstrous Malachite and were set to destroy the very person who fixed Lapis. But Lapis was done. Done with the abuse, done with being forgotten, done with their leader's emotional manipulation. She fought back against Jasper and managed to hold down Malachite, submerging the fusion into the ocean and staying there for months. She was trapped, but this time of her own accord. Unfortunately, this wouldn't last, for Malachite eventually broke out. But with the combined force of the Crystal Gems fusion, Alexandrite, and some watermelon people, they were able to finally defuse Malachite. Lapis was finally offered freedom in a spot as a Crystal Gem. And while she was hesitant, she eventually came back and figured if she was going to be punished as a Crystal Gem, she might as well be one. Lapis came to her own, and when Jasper tried to come back, Lapis had none of it and got rid of that toxic relationship. Unfollowed and blocked. Once the Crystal Gems managed to make the Diamonds see the error of their ways, peace was finally obtained, with Lapis becoming a teacher, leading Gems down the right path to carve their own not-so-predetermined future. Finally, after all this time, Lapis, who only knew subjugation and submission, was finally free. Alright, it's time. Both combatants are ready, and it's time to put the debate to rest.
Reminds me of Emerald.
No one's allowed here. Get out of here right now. Huh? It can't be. Here goes nothing. Oh no.
Huh. That was easy. This thing's tougher than I thought. Guess we gotta do this the hard way. Water monster. Neat. Trying to fight water with water? Two can play at that game. Leave me alone! Who's pitiful now? Please don't do this! I beg you!
I don't listen to the words of a child. Ready, men? Charge!
No!
I'm getting deja vu. Lapis was certainly a powerhouse in her own right, but Chaos just had her beat in every notable category. Starting with strength, Chaos had Lapis beat. While Lapis lifting the ocean got around 35 petatons, Chaos scaling to Classic Sonic breaking the chains of Little Planet got him over 90 rotatons, making Chaos 2.5 trillion times stronger. But hey, Lapis can manipulate all forms of water. Couldn't she just control Chaos and keep him at bay? Well, no. While Chaos is technically made of a similar substance to water, it isn't technically water, which means Lapis's water manipulation isn't a surefire way to take him out. To her credit, Lapis was a lot more creative with her applications of water manipulation. However, Chaos had a lot of other abilities that Lapis didn't have, like Chaos Bind or various other energy attacks. It's not like Lapis could simply avoid those. And yeah, the speed gap was also in the trillions. While the robot the Crystal Gem's face could reach speeds of over 15 billion times the speed of light, Supersonic reached speeds over 3 quadrillion times the speed of light. Yeah, that little gap is over 200,000. Lapis was powerful in her own right, but she was simply outgunned and outsped. This was quite simply a wash. The winner is Chaos. Again.